Being in Atlanta, we have a lot of money that comes through here. Probably, I don't want to say we're one of the wealthiest cities in the South, but it is pretty well off. You do see a lot of people from different walks of life, whether it's one of our corporations, which is Coca-Cola, UPS, Delta, all of them are hubbed here in Atlanta, or is it one of our sports teams? Whether it's our soccer team, the Atlanta United, or our baseball team, the Atlanta Braves, or the Atlanta Falcons, which are not having a good season, or even our Atlanta Hawks. Regardless, we have a lot of money coming through the city. Now with that, there's an expression called ballers, B-A-L-L-E-R-S, or sometimes B-A-L-L-A. And what that means is someone who lives an extravagant lifestyle, much of a baller, which is a basketball player, soccer player, a football player, or even a baseball player. So these are the expressions, and that's someone that lives a very extravagant lifestyle. Even if you are not a baller per se, you do have a lot of money and you perceive that baller lifestyle. So these are going to be the next stories of people that are, in our eyes, ballers that come into our restaurants. Now, the first one is not really he came into the restaurant. We went to his house, and I've mentioned him before. And the only reason I'm going to mention him again, he no longer lives in this house. He lives in another house, and that is Tom Glavine. He is the pitcher of the Braves, the Atlanta Braves, or I'm sorry, he's the ex-pitcher of the Atlanta Braves. He's a Hall of Famer. He was top-notch. They won one of the World Series. And also what makes it incredible, we did parties at his house all of the time. A lot of times he was very nice. He showed us around the house, and he had a pitcher's mound in his house. He would go downstairs and practice, and he had a full-fledged pitcher's mound. Not only did he have that, he had a soccer field in his backyard as well as a baseball field. And he lived in a very popular subdivision in Alpharetta. And what I mean by that is there's not a lot of space between these houses, but he still had enough space to have a full-fledged baseball field and soccer field in his backyard. Now, this next house we did a private party for. I got a phone call. The lady said, hey, I have a party. It's probably about 60 or 70 people. One of the questions I always ask, where are we parking these cars in proximity to your house? And she said, we're parking them all on the property. I'm like, really? She said, yeah, we have parking. She built 2 additional parking lots on her house that would accommodate up to 50 to 60 cars, not including the garages or anything like that. I couldn't believe it. And usually what we do, we can pull a lot of the houses up on Google Maps so we don't have to take a trip down there to see what the property looks like. Well, this house is brand new construction. They said it was actually finished less than a month earlier, and this is kind of her open house celebration to invite all the people over to her house. So I had to drive down there to see the house to see if we could park, and it lets me know how many valets I need to put out there. Now, if there's something that we have to run up and down the block and park 50 cars, then that's an X number, but a number of valets that we have to bring out there. But if it's something simple and it's on the property and it's self-contained, that's something that we can keep a lower number of valets, which keeps our costs down. So I go out to this property and I'm like, oh my God, not only does she have 2 parking lots, they're not just concrete, they're done with pavers. She has over $100,000 worth of concrete and pavers to build these parking lots. For me, I'm a car guy, so you know I love the fact that we can easily park these cars, and this is something she thought about. She's like, I know I'm going to be doing a lot of parties. I wanted to make sure I had enough parking spaces on my property behind the gates to accommodate all these cars. So for me, that's a true baller, and I really do love this house. The next event we did was at our local Lamborghini dealership. This was at the unveiling of the new Lamborghini Aventador, and the customer that came in to pick up his Aventador, which was the first one in the Southeast. So regardless of South Carolina, North Carolina, Alabama, everything, Atlanta was the first one to get this Aventador. And this customer came in his International CXT, which is a commercial 18-wheeler that was converted to civilian use, to pick up his Lamborghini Aventador. Now, when you see an 18-wheeler coming in, I actually got nervous because I have to be honest, I cannot drive an 18-wheeler. I can probably figure it out. And to tell you a little secret, it's actually one of my dreams to drive a car like this. But one of my other valets didn't know how to drive it. He's like, give it to me, because it has air brakes, and that's what makes things difficult. And you have to know how to flip the switches to put it into reverse. So to think, if you're coming in a $200,000 recreational commercial truck to pick up your $400,000 Lamborghini, I think that's pretty baller. And not to mention the guy has a private jet, and this is a picture of his jet with his Lamborghini. The next event we did was a Mercedes-Benz event, and it was just a summer soiree is the best thing of putting it. Well, you would think it's a little bit further away. It was probably a 45-minute drive for most people to get to this dealership. And you would think, oh yeah, I have a Mercedes-Benz. Let me pull one of my fast cars out and go to this event. They have the AMG GTs, the AMG GTRs. Those are incredible cars that I know this customer actually owned. But what did he bring out to this event? He ended up bringing up his helicopter. He brought a helicopter, landed in a field, got out, and went into the event. To me, I don't know, but it doesn't get much baller than that. That was incredible. Now, I don't even want to know the price tag on this private event that we did. But now, what makes this private party special? They wanted to duplicate a restaurant out of New York called Rayo's. Let me explain what Rayo's is. Rayo's is a restaurant that's considered probably one of the oldest restaurants in the United States. And it was built in probably 1860s, and it was the same owners for all of the years, and it's in the same location in East Harlem. Now, what makes this restaurant special? There's probably less than 15 tables in this restaurant. To get a reservation is probably going to take you close to a year to even get reservations into this. Now, what makes this restaurant special? There are 85 people that own the rights to these 15 tables. What does that mean? If they put reservations in, that means they have the rights to those tables, and they could sit there all night long. They can come in at 5 o'clock and sit until probably midnight if they wanted to, and they're not going to kick them out. Now, what happens, let's say, God forbid, somebody passes away in that family, then it goes to someone else in the next family. It's known for celebrities, mafia, everything for over the decades. And someone had a private party here in Atlanta, and they duplicated this restaurant in Atlanta. I don't even want to guess how much that cost, but they duplicated the 15 tables inside, all the memorabilia on the wall, and down to the food. So they had the food flown in from New York to duplicate this restaurant completely. I guarantee, honestly, that was at least $100,000 just to build the venue and the duplicated, but that's pretty baller to me. Anyway, I don't know if you like these kind of baller series and let people know what kind of strange, incredible, extravagant, luxurious things that we see when we walk into these events. But hey, some of the times I have to go to these events myself because I want to see what's what. So I'll show up sometimes just to see what the valets are saying are true. But definitely, these are some of the events that we love so much.